Hi, everybody. Welcome to Better Than Ever. I'm going to turn this down. There's no time for an intro today because it is a celebratory edition of Better Late Than Never. I'm pushing all the buttons. Huh. What can you say? Game 7, the Oilers beat the Vancouver Canucks 3-2. Never in doubt. Everybody was calm. Everybody was collected. Nobody's heartbeat raised above their resting rate in Game 7 because the Oilers went into Vancouver and handled their business handily. Well, of course, that didn't exactly go that way. It got pretty intense there in the final 10 minutes of the game, but for the most part, the Edmonton Oilers did exactly what we needed them to do. The Oilers went into Vancouver and they handled their business. The Oilers went into an arena that had not been kind to them all season long. All season long. And what did they do? They handled their business. And for that, I'm super excited. And that meant a quick episode of Better Late Than Never, a reaction episode to the Oilers moving on. We're all excited. We're going to Dallas, and I'm just going to push all the buttons.
Let's go, baby.
There is so much to be excited about with this hockey team. Now, coming into the series, everybody knew that the Oilers did not win a game against the Canucks in the regular season. And for a lot of Canucks fans, they were holding that as a badge of honor, like something that was insurmountable, as if no team had ever been swept in the regular season to only go on to have success in the playoffs, even though even in the first round, it happened to the Winnipeg Jets. The Colorado Avalanche barely held a lead at all in the games they played against the Winnipeg Jets in the regular season. Then what happened in the playoffs? They absolutely dummied them. And now, while I'm not saying that was the case for the Oilers in Vancouver, what I am saying is that the Oilers picked up their 4 wins at the time that it mattered most. So, well, if you look at the overall season series, 7-4 in favor of the Canucks in terms of wins and losses. Those 4 losses came at the worst possible time.
Listen, Satan's here too because I'm excited about the way the Oilers got the job done last night. And let me tell you, there's some darkness brewing in Vancouver. All they've got is sadness in their hearts. And now they thought the Oilers were going to blow this. They thought that the Canucks were actually going to get by the mighty Oil and into the Western Conference. Well, let Satan tell you something. It really wasn't close. In fact, I'd go on to say that the Oilers lost more games due to their own mistakes and poor execution than the Canucks won games because they played well. This series was not close.
Listen, Satan, you can't say that it wasn't close. When we went to Game 7 and the mighty Canucks, they're ready to bounce back, even though now I can finally admit it in the text messages to Bagmouth behind the scenes. I'm an Oil man. Big Dave is in on the Oilers. I even asked for an Oilers jersey last night, and I'm going to get one too. I'm going to get one, and I'm going to wear it, and I'm going to support the mighty Oil on their way to the Stanley Cup.
What a series. To me, when I think back in that 7-game series against the Vancouver Canucks, the things that stick out were the Oilers overcoming their own mistakes. I remember sitting at Greta before Game 1, and Frank Saravalli was saying, he was on Oilers Nation every day with Tyler and Liam, and he was kind of saying, this is the Oilers series to lose, meaning if the Vancouver Canucks were going to get past Edmonton, it was going to be because the Oilers shot themselves in the foot. And I would say that that exact thing happened that night in Game 1. The Oilers had a 4-1 lead. They blew it. They blew it in the third period. The Canucks came back to win. It was devastating. That 5-4 loss, I still remember the chirps and getting shit just hurled on us as we were leaving Rogers Arena in Vancouver. Game 2, they obviously rebounded. In Game 3, it was the exact same thing. The Oilers outshot the Canucks. It was something like 45-18 or something crazy like that, but they couldn't get the saves they needed from Stu to lock in that win. 2 of the Oilers' losses in this series came as a direct result of their own mistakes. So last night when the Oilers were up 3-0 going into the third period, I was tweeting about it. Listen, this is the Mamba mentality right now. It's just job's not finished. There is no reason to be excited right now because nothing has happened. We have still got 20 minutes to play, and a 3-zip lead can be erased in a hurry. And starting by a mistake by Ryan McLeod, which is, I feel so bad for the guy that he made the mistake in that moment, because he's been so good for the Oilers in this series on the defensive side of the puck, that having him whiff on a clearing attempt like that to have Connor Garland open the scoring and really ignite the crowd was just, it was such a bummer for me to see that happen to Ryan McLeod. In the post-game availability, Nobby talked about how he wasn't sure what McLeod would do over the end of that period, having given up the puck like that. So we kind of parked him on the bench. I thought that was a really interesting coaching decision. McLeod probably would have been fine, more than likely, but at the same point, when you make a mistake like that and the whole building revives itself the way that that happened in Vancouver last night, I don't blame him. And I thought that was a really smart bit of coaching. And I want to give Chris Knobloch all the credit in the world, because I think that he made adjustments through the series where last year with Woody, and I'm a big Woody guy, he wasn't making those same adjustments the way Chris Knobloch did. He probably wouldn't have pulled Stu out for game 5 and game 6. Or no, sorry, game 4 and game 5 in favor of Calvin Pickard. He probably wouldn't have. Last year, we saw that against the Vegas Golden Knights. He didn't go to Jack Campbell ever, even when Stu was struggling. And so for Knobloch to have the cojones,
The cojones! You gotta push the button, buddy, if you want me to talk. If you don't push the button, it just sounds like you, and everybody knows that the bit. You gotta break the fourth wall from time to time, Bagno. Be a professional. Push the button.
he had the cojones to make that change and go for Calvin Pickard in those 2 games, and just gave Stu a mental reset. And backs up against the wall. He went back to the guy who got him to the dance, and Stuart Skinner. He locked in 2 clutch victories. He wasn't the busiest goaltender you'll ever see. He wasn't. I'm not going to pretend that he was, but he made the stops you needed him to make to lock in those victories. Now, I don't understand Vancouver's approach of not shooting the puck at all. I just don't get it. I mean, I understand that you don't want to waste shooting attempts and you want to find the perfect area to shoot the puck, but fuck, what a wasted opportunity for Vancouver. That is just weird coaching by Tocchet. In game 5, the Canucks were throwing pucks from everywhere at the net, and they played their best game of the series. And then why they went away from that over the final 2 games is beyond me, but I really don't care. I really don't care. What I care about now is enjoying the salty tears of all the Canucks fans who have been in my mentions all series long, talking about how this was going to be a series that they would win, and that the Oilers were going to blow it, and that they had no chance, and blah, blah, blah. And now they're moving the goalposts. Like, oh, the Oilers, the only reason that the Oilers won is because Demko didn't play and Besser didn't play. First of all, in terms of Brock Besser, man, I feel for that guy. He missed game 7, arguably the biggest game of his career because of blood clotting, and that is no joke. It's just no joke. So I think that on a human level, I couldn't feel worse for a guy than Brock Besser. On and off the ice, the guy's had struggles over the last 3-4 years that have just been insanely personal, and there was talk about him leaving Vancouver just because of everything that was kind of hanging overhead with his old man and just stuff that was happening on the ice or off the ice for him, and I felt bad for him. But like Brett Holden said last night on After Dark when I was there with AD and Brett, or AB and Brett on After Dark, I should say, he said, listen, you can only play the team in front of you. What do you want the Oilers to do? Do you want them, and I kind of chimed in too. I was like, what do you want the Oilers to do? Do you want them to play down a man just because they feel bad Brock Besser and Demko aren't playing? Do you want them to allow the Canucks to play with 6 skaters on the ice because they feel bad? What are you asking for here? But what happened is that the Oilers handled their business. The Oilers got the job done at a time when it was clutch. They were down 3-2. And just like they did against Los Angeles 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, I guess. 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. They came back from being down 3-2 and they won in Game 7. Game 7 in the NHL is the most stressful hockey you can watch. Now, had that thing gone to overtime, that is a different layer of stress entirely, but we didn't get there. And for that, I thank you. I think back to Game 1 when the Oilers blew that lead in the 3rd period. Chris Knobloch didn't call a timeout when the wheels were falling off. Last night, he learned from the mistake. He adjusted. After those 2 quick goals by Vancouver, he called a timeout. He essentially stopped the momentum right there. He settled the boys down. And from there, they did not allow a shot on net.
They did not allow a shot on net.
They closed out that game like fucking champs. That was the way you get the job done. The Oilers got the job done in an arena that had not been kind to them. And then you've got a bunch of sad boy Canucks fans in my mentions moving the goalposts about how, the Oilers were supposed to win this series and it's just happy the Canucks were there. And then, okay, well, start deleting tweets then. Start deleting all those tweets from earlier in the series. I think of that dude that writes in Vancouver. I quote tweeted him last night because it was fucking hilarious. What is his name? Patrick Johnston. On May 12th, he said, no matter how you slice it, the simple truth is that the Oilers have beaten the Canucks just once this season, but now they need to win 3 of their next 4 to advance.
And then what happened, Patrick? Tell me what happened. Update the tweet, Patrick. Update the tweet.
Did it look like it was going to be easy? No. Did anybody say winning the Stanley Cup is going to be easy? No. And you can say whatever you want. You can add an asterisk next to the Oilers win if it's in your feeble little brain that you can't comprehend that they would beat the Vancouver Canucks like they should have. Say whatever you want. The fact of the matter is the Oilers are moving on to the Western Conference Finals in a showdown against Dallas. That's what matters. How they got there is irrelevant. The Canucks got taken to 6 games by the Nashville Predators. They had 1-2-0 lead in this entire playoff run. They had more than 30 shots once. That is not a winning recipe in the playoffs. You can say whatever you want about Tocchet's coaching or how the Canucks never quit. They played a style of hockey that is not going to win you anything. And I will take this to the grave. Outside of their win in Game 5, where they were handily the better team, they did not deserve to win this series. The Oilers were the better team every single night. And the 2 wins that the Canucks got in Game 1 and Game 3, that was the Oilers' fault. That wasn't that the Canucks did anything well. That was the Oilers not executing properly. Full stop. You will never convince me otherwise. The Oilers had to not only beat the Vancouver Canucks, they had to beat themselves. And last night they exercised that demon. Last night they collected a 3-2 win in Vancouver, even though no one in the series was able to win 2 games in a row. Vancouver won Game 1, Edmonton won Game 2. Vancouver won Game 3, Edmonton won Game 4. Vancouver won Game 5, Edmonton won Game 6 and Game 7. Lights out. Good night, Jim Kite. That's what happened. And I'm excited about it. Now I'm looking ahead at Dallas. If you're old enough to remember those series from the late 90s and the early 2000s, you have a deep-rooted hatred for the Dallas Stars. I hated the Dallas Stars as a younger me. I was in about junior high, early high school ages, and the Stars ruined our playoffs every single year outside of some key moments. Obviously, we know Marchand, Game 7. OT. We know about that one. Let's make some new memories because the Dallas Stars are a very, very good hockey team. The Dallas Stars are not going to let the Oilers up off the mat, so they're going to have to execute at an even higher level than what they have right now. They are Canada's hope to break the 30-year drought for the Stanley Cup. They have got the most Canadians on their team since the Ducks in 2007. This is Canada's team, and what's amazing is that nobody else across the country is going to jump on board, and I don't care. If you weren't on our bandwagon when the Oilers were 2-9-1 or 3-9-1, whatever it was back in November, I don't want you here. I don't care about your feelings towards the Edmonton Oilers because those of us that have been riding with them all season long, even things were tough, even things would look like shit, you deserve to be going to the Western Conference Finals. You deserve to have whatever celebration you had last night. You deserve to be tired, hungover, and still walking on cloud 9 today, Tuesday, May 21st. Because on Thursday, the Oilers set off for Dallas, and this series is going to be spicy. The last time the Oilers went to the Western Conference Finals, obviously we know what happened against Colorado Avalanche. How can you apply the lessons from that series into this series? The Oilers are a deeper team this year. The Oilers are a better team this year. The Oilers are a more experienced team this year. But the Dallas Stars are pretty damned good. It is going to take everybody firing on all cylinders for the Edmonton Oilers to get through this Dallas Stars team, and this series is going to be a battle. The good news is, All the games, at least 1 through 4 that I'm seeing right now, 6:30 p.m., you take that, right? You take the wins wherever you can get it. You take the wins.
Satan can't wait to have a great night's sleep. Let me tell you something. Satan is just here to have a good time. And in the playoffs, Satan doesn't want to go to bed too late. Satan's got to work in the morning. There's a lot of souls to corrupt. There's a lot of people to torture. Listen, Satan's got a big job to do. And if the Edmonton Oilers maybe go to bed too late, then Satan's just a grumpy boy.
I'm just happy I get to go to bed at my proper bedtime. Lately, I've been going to bed too late, and Big Dave does not operate well when Big Dave's tired. Big Dave is excited about early nights.
And I'm excited about the Edmonton Oilers moving on. I'm excited that we're in this together. I'm excited that this season full of shit is ending up in the Western Conference Finals, because back in November, if you had told me that the Oilers would be part of the Final Four when they were basically dead last in the NHL, I never would have believed you. And frankly, it's just such a beautiful feeling, and I could not be happier than I am today. I'm going to have the regular episode of Better Late Than Never coming up tomorrow. But today, I just wanted to do a quick 15 minutes. I'm excited. It's a celebration. The Oilers made it through Vancouver. We are Canada's team. We are Canada's best hope, and we are off to Dallas. Can't wait. Let's kick this off on Saturday. I'll talk to you tomorrow.